first question, what's driving the dramatic growth of the cloud?
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of the cloud is a triple win, I think, for companies. So first is users love the cloud. So users love cloud applications. They find them to be tremendously compelling, easy to use. So users get very excited, and therefore users get more productive. Second is IT. I think IT gets huge leverage from the cloud. It's so much easier to adopt cloud applications. So much of the work that IT normally had to do to roll out new applications has already been done with cloud applications. And so there's a big IT productivity payoff. And the third is, I think the applications actually are going to be a lot more sophisticated. I think the applications built in the cloud are going to be much more powerful, ultimately, than the applications that people use to install behind the firewall. And so I actually think that the apps are more sophisticated, therefore a business can be more sophisticated, more powerful.
Are there specific types of applications that you think, from a cloud perspective, that are being adopted more than others?
Well, this is one of the things that's interesting, is cloud applications can be adopted so fast that there's now tremendous innovation happening and tremendously quick adoption happening. And so there's a lot of traditional line of business applications now being adopted. But also you have all these new end user productivity applications. And so you've got applications like Box, and you've got Google Apps and so forth that are tremendously powerful from a user standpoint, let users collaborate much more easily. And users love them, and they're adopting them very quickly.
How about products like Office 365 and ServiceNow and Salesforce, products like that?
Well, there's this whole revolution now with Salesforce automation and marketing automation, which are categories that the previous generations of enterprise software had largely not addressed. It was starting to happen in the late 90s, but it's really been with companies like Salesforce.com and NetSuite that Salesforce automation has really started to happen.
How can companies like CipherCloud help companies more quickly adopt cloud-based applications?
Well, we think CipherCloud is the missing link between sort of full-scale enterprise security and compliance and then full adoption of the cloud. Because with CipherCloud, you don't have to make the trade anymore of having to deal with the fact that you have unencrypted data running around in the network and you don't know where it's going. If CipherCloud had existed 10 years ago, the cloud would already be comprehensively adopted everywhere. So we think CipherCloud is in many ways the missing piece that should have been present from the start.
And how important is an aspect of that? How important is when you add that additional level of protection or additional level of security through encryption, is preserving the usability and functionality of the application?
Yeah, it's really critical that the application still be easy to use. There's long history in the computer industry of security making the user experience more difficult, and of course the inevitable consequence of that is users ignore and route around the security. You have to make security encryption easy to use. You have to integrate it with standard applications. You have to have it be a seamless part of the user experience. It cannot interfere with productivity, because if it does, users will ignore it or route around it or figure out how to turn it off, or they'll hate the application.
How about like key management? So the importance for companies as they're securing information in the cloud to actually be able to retain the keys from an encryption and decryption perspective.
Yeah, well, it's critically important that companies remain in control of their security, and it's critically important as a consequence that they remain in control of all their keys. It's critically important that they have total control over the data and the ability to decrypt the data no matter where the data moves. Interestingly, this is something that companies should have had this entire time on in-house applications, and typically, actually, companies don't. And so one of the ironic things we think that's happening is cloud applications secured with CipherCloud are much more locked down and are much more secure than traditional enterprise applications.
Where do you see the cloud and CipherCloud going in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
So the big thing that I think is going to happen with the cloud, I think that companies are going to be very surprised at the number of cloud applications they're going to use. We think cloud applications basically get adopted, in some cases top down, by the CIO and by IT and line of business. But then a lot of applications are being adopted bottom up. And a lot of applications are showing up in the enterprise because individual users or teams can go out onto the web and can subscribe to applications very easily, just like going to websites.
And within that context, as the cloud is continuing to rapidly grow and more users within a company are using cloud-based applications, either top down or bottoms up, where do you think CipherCloud fits in that funnel?
We think CipherCloud is the essential piece in the middle. It's the essential connection from the company and its responsibilities to keep information secure and to remain compliant, and then the ability to fully leverage the cloud. And so we think with CipherCloud, the potential of the cloud is fully unlocked. Without CipherCloud, we think companies are taking a lot of risk.